Good evening and welcome. My name is Melanie Brooks, and on behalf of the Bloomfield Hills High School Counseling Department, I would like to welcome you to College Application 101 for the class of 2023. The task of applying to college may seem overwhelming. However, it is our hope that this presentation will provide families and students with insight into and leave with a clear understanding of the college application process. As always, if you have questions or concerns following the presentation, please do not hesitate to contact your child's counselor. Tonight's presentation will be taped and posted on the Bloomfield Hills High School website, counseling page, and on Canvas for later viewing. We would like to share some information from the Bloomfield Hills High School PTO. This is in regards to the all-night party. And as the flyer says, this is a fun time for kids. There is someone here that's going to actually speak a little more about that. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Melissa Feldman. First of all, I can't believe our kids are going to be seniors. And who remembers their all-night senior party? Nobody? I remember mine. Just to give you a little history, the senior all-night party has been a tradition at this school for over 50 years. It's the only graduation party after graduation. So if you're planning on a separate party for your child, it can't be that night. It's held here at the school from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m., and it's a safe and fun way to give the seniors one last memory as a group. The event details are secret for our kids, but I assure you it will be a blast for everyone. All of the junior parents can get a sneak peek if you guys want to come help tear down. You can email me there. And it's fun because you get to see what's going to happen the following year. And we'd love to start meeting about next year's event in the fall, so I would love to get a committee together and can come with your ideas and throw a big party for the seniors next year. Thank you.
I'll now introduce our Bloomfield Hills High School Counseling Department. Mr. Brian Fitzgerald is the counselor for Alphabet A through C. Mr. Fogel is the counselor for Alphabet D through G. Laura Holloramatis is H through K. Shayna Klein is L through O. Myself, Melanie Brooks, I am P through SI. And Mr. Tony Medea is SJ through Z. One of the resources here at the high school that we hope your students take advantage of is our College and Career Resource Center. It's located right next door to the counseling office. The CRC coordinator is Mrs. Luan France. One of the things that students can find helpful within the CRC is the ability to sign up for college visits. Every fall, we have numerous colleges that come and have opportunities to speak directly with our students, and many of those visits take place, many of those visits takes place within the CRC. Also, the CRC is a place where you can get information about AP or Advanced Placement Test registration, ACT and SAT prep. There's also college reference materials, scholarship information, and information about summer enrichment opportunities. Before the school year ends, we encourage students, especially our juniors, to look at what is required by colleges to which you are applying to from the Naviance search that we did with you back in November. One of the things that we encourage students to also consider is if they will need a recommendation letter from a teacher here at the high school, we encourage them to have a face-to-face conversation with one or two academic teachers, and that, of course, depends on how many letters are required of the school that the student is applying to. And, of course, we want you to seek someone who you know will have a positive letter to write on your behalf. I don't think that a teacher that you consider should be one that you may not have had the best relationship with, okay? So hopefully you're going to consider teachers that can speak very highly of you, because we found in the college application process that colleges really do put a lot of weight and a lot of value on the letters of recommendation that they receive from students or on behalf of students. How to request a teacher letter? There is an official process to requesting a letter from a teacher, and that is through Naviance, and that will be explained in more detail to the students when we return to school in the fall. In September, when we have our senior meeting with students, it's usually the second week of school, we will give them specific directions on how to request a teacher letter through Naviance. Again, this process will be reviewed at that senior meeting in September. Counselor letters of recommendation, those are also an invaluable piece of the college application process. If a college requires a letter of recommendation from your counselor, there are two things that we ask that you complete so that your counselor can write a very informed and personalized letter on your behalf. One is called a student questionnaire, and the other is a family or parent guardian questionnaire. And sometimes students don't think that we need the parent questionnaire because they think they're providing us everything we need within their student questionnaire. Well, sometimes there are things that students don't think are important or details that they may forget to tell about themselves that a parent may add. So that's why we definitely request that you submit both of them so that we, again, can write a very personalized and a very detailed letter that can be a valuable support to your admissions to your college of choice. Mr. Tony Medea will take over from here on NCAA.
So part of the whole college application process is NCAA eligibility. And for those that don't know, there's 3 divisions in the NCAA. There's also NAIA, which is a smaller host of schools than the NCAA. Most of our students will participate in an NCAA Division 1, 2, or 3 school. In order to do that, their transcript has to be certified as initially eligible, which is a combination of certain classes that must be taken in the core subject areas, GPA, test scores, and a host of other things. The requirements are different for Division 1, Division 2, and Division 3. Division 1 being the most strenuous. So right here on this slide, you'll see the website, and if you just type in the address bar of your browser, NCAA Eligibility Center, it'll pop right up, and the first button you'll see there is Make an Account. It's $90, I think, pretty much, and you'll have to enter the school code that is there. That's our school code for the Eligibility Center, and have the transcript forwarded. We will do that for you at the end of 11th grade, and then they will send you a letter based on your eligibility status. Now, it's really good, and it doesn't show it on this slide, if you also type in the address bar college-bound student athlete, the first thing that pops up is the student guide. It's a PDF by the NCAA that delineates all the requirements, the visitation requirements, rights, everything that goes along with Division 1, 2, and 3. There are sliding scales, and it is different. So you'll want to really know that manual. It's about 27 pages. You'll really want to know that in and out, and it's good information to have if you intend to participate in athletics at the collegiate level. In June, you're going to receive a letter from your counselor, and it will talk about your graduation status. In that letter, it'll have every academic discipline divided by the graduation requirements, what's required, spelled out very plainly, what your student has completed and what they still need. Along with that, it's good to know that by this time, you should have 3 to 5 colleges in your thinking about list in Naviance. So Naviance is software that we use in grades 9, 10, and 11. And in 11th grade, we work on college searches, the reasons why you might want to apply to certain colleges, using the information from grades 9 and 10 to make a robust search that's based on something tangible. And those colleges should be on the students' colleges they're thinking about list, and Mr. Fogel will have more information on how to add to that list later in the program. And this is just a little screen that shows they have also a mobile application that you can use on your phone. And this basically just talks about what I just mentioned. These are some of the things that we have done with the students up to this time. Goal setting, game plan is just planning out your 3 years in high school, building a resume, personality assessments. So what this basically does is it gives kids over grades 9 and 10 and 11 for the most part to think about why are they applying to the colleges they're applying to. It takes your interests, their skills, their abilities, all those things that they already know about themselves, and a little bit more, and puts them into a framework where, oh, I have this interest. People in this occupation expressed a great deal of satisfaction in these jobs and in these careers. Oh, and by the way, these are the majors and degree programs that can get you into those jobs. And oh, by the way, these are the colleges that offer those degree programs. So it's really a logical way of thinking about applying to college without saying, well, I like to call it college by choice, not by chance. Well, my friends are going here, so that's where I'm going to go. A pretty expensive proposition to have that in your head. And this is our screen. Now, what you have in your program might look a little bit different, and there was a little snafu. We get really busy in our department with a lot of things, so I'll apologize for what's in your program, but nevertheless, this is basically the same thing, and this talks about how you might add those colleges to your list, and Mr. Fogel will be going in great detail at this a little bit later. Mrs. Klein.
Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the suggestions, expectations we have for you guys to be working on over the summer. First of all, college visits. A lot of you guys have probably already been well on your way to visiting many colleges. The summer is a good time to continue to do that if you're interested in getting on campus and learning more about schools. An important thing to note about college visits, because it's fun and it's exciting to see college reps, students, buildings, hear about programs. College visits does not have to be, the coast-to-coast tour of every college that you're considering applying to. So that's, an endeavor of both time and money that doesn't always have to be so exhaustive. So visit the schools that you think you're most interested in, and then sometimes you can use that as a barometer to compare, okay, so this is what this bigger school felt like, so I can assume other schools might feel kind of similar. And then after you go through the application process and you have some admissions decisions, then sometimes following up with some college tours at that point to help you make a decision might be a good way to kind of tackle that. The parent and student questionnaire that Mrs. Brooks had mentioned is also something that we would ask you guys to complete this spring before you leave for the summer for student and parent or guardian. A lot of us will will work on your letters over the summer, there's a lot of seniors and a lot of students that will be requesting one. So in, the effort of trying to, be timely and make sure we're all ready to go and you guys are ready to go in the fall, being able to work on letters in the summer is super helpful. So these are surveys that you can absolutely do now. Students, you don't have to wait for a parent to do it. Parent, you don't have to wait for your student to do it. They're independent of one another. So they're all Google forms, and hopefully this will work. So these are what the forms look like. And you'll just click submit once you've completed the entire thing. And these are accessible through our website. This slideshow is going to be posted as well, and then on Canvas too. Your services action, hopefully everyone has logged 3 service experiences by now, or hopefully, well, at minimum 2, because you guys have 3 required. Anything you do over the summer, log it. Anything you do in addition to the minimum 3, log it. It's always good to just have record of your service, but please don't, be caught in the situation that some of our seniors are caught in this year where, we're emailing and calling and hunting because service isn't completed. So be on top of it, be responsible. It's a simple task to complete. So most of you have done the service, but maybe didn't log it. So make sure you do that. Naviance has the resume tool, so we've been showing that to you guys once a year for the past 3 years, so everyone should have something already in their resume on Naviance. It's a good tool for you to share with us. We can actually just access it. Your teachers might ask for it when you are requesting a recommendation letter from them, so it's a good organizational tool. It will also help you when you're filling out your college applications, when you complete an activities section, and it basically asks you for awards, activities, jobs, service. If you already have all that in your resume, it's actually a huge time saver and will help you be more efficient. So definitely spend some time this summer working on your resume too. A lot of students get super anxious and feel like I have to click submit on their college application in August. You do not, and you should not. And one of the main reasons is because of your schedule. That's why we're going to ask that nobody click submit beforehand. You all know that you made course requests back in March, but you don't get schedules until August, and September is when school starts, and things can change. And if you submit an application with a schedule that's incorrect, you have to then backtrack and contact all these colleges, and it ends up being a lot more unnecessary work. So be patient. You are fine if you submit your application the second week of September. You're better taking your time than doing something prematurely and then having to clean up things on the other side. So you should all begin working on your applications over the summer. There's really no reason not to. Everybody has time. The more efficiently you use your summer, the less stressed out you'll be when you come back in the fall. You're coming back to 7, 8 classes, and you pick up the school year running. So now you're working on college applications. It's almost in some ways like another class if you have essays and all that kind of stuff. So stay on top of this over the summer, and you really should be able to come back to school with 80%, possibly more, of your college application already completed, and then just be completing the last little sections, tweaking it, improving it, all that kind of stuff. But following directions is really important. Reading things carefully, what are they asking for, is something that colleges will really, spend a little time looking into. If they're asking for activities and you're writing about awards and honors, they're looking at, well, the student's really not paying close attention to what we're asking, and what does this maybe say about this applicant? So you have to be careful, you have to be cautious, and you have to be mindful of what you are inputting in your application. In terms of an email, hopefully everyone has an appropriate email address. That's like the first thing that the colleges are going to see. If you don't have one, make one. We would encourage you to use a personal email, not a Bloomfield email. Those expire right after you graduate. So use a personal email for your college application accounts. Applications are mostly live July and August, so you can start working on them. If you've already made a Common Application account, which some of you might have, that's okay. If you haven't and you want to create one, you can. They have the rollover feature, which means if you create the account and you start filling in some of the information, it will roll over to the new application cycle, which starts August 1st. So there's no harm in doing that, but there's only one section that would roll over, and it's the Common App tab. So if you create the account, you don't really have to do a whole lot, but if you do, you would only want to do stuff in the one Common App tab. We will be having a summer boot camp on August 2nd. It's a half-day morning workshop. You could sign up for that over the summer if you'd like to. There is a sign-up form that's linked here as well. It will also be sent out and put on Canvas, so we'd love to see you guys. We'll probably have space for maybe a little over 100, 120 or so. So if you're interested, you'll definitely want to sign up for our boot camp. The Common App versus the university and specific applications. So I've already mentioned the Common App. You've probably all heard of the Common App. Basically, it's one application that over 900 schools will use. You fill it out one time, and you can choose the schools that you want to apply to. There are additional supplemental sections that are school-specific, but in general, the bulk of that application is the same for multiple schools. So that's kind of an efficient way to apply to a lot of schools if they use multiple applications. The university-specific application is to that one specific university only. So for example, Grand Valley, they only have an application specific to their school, so you would have to use that one through their website. This is a list of all the schools in the state of Michigan that use the Common App. The schools that are bolded in purple are the public schools, the state schools. You'll notice, like, for example, Wayne State says Common App only. U of M Ann Arbor says Common App only. Those schools only accept the Common App. There are several others that don't indicate that, which means you have the choice. They have a university-specific application or the Common App. It would be your choice. The colleges generally will say they don't have a preference for one application over another. It's really up to you. So our advice would just be to work smart and be strategic. If you're applying to a school that's using the Common App and you're already on the Common App, there's no point in them filling out a specific application just through that university's website. Okay, so a couple quick points about the college essay, because that's a big part of the application as well. Some quick myths, essay myths. There's a lot of mistruths out there about what the essay is supposed to be and how it's supposed to sound. It's supposed to sound sophisticated. It's a myth. It's a student essay. It's not a professional essay. It's not your parents' essay. It's not an essay writing workshops essay. It's your essay, and it needs to sound like you, not like somebody else. And overly sophisticated essays, they can see through. It doesn't need to be any sort of impressive topic. An essay is, they're looking for you. So don't try and come up with something way out in left field that you think is going to sound so amazing when it isn't necessarily what the college is looking for. I heard a lot of kids this year, oh, the school wasn't reading the essays didn't matter. I don't know where that comes from, but it's not true. If colleges are asking for an essay, they're reading it. Colleges don't know if students get too much help. They always know. They can read between the lines. Student voice is student voice, and it's very obvious. And there's not a secret formula they're looking for. This is not, a cookie cutter can type of thing, because every student's unique and every student's different. So it's not like you're supposed to fit a mold. Some tips. Understand the prompt, answer the entire prompt. Some of the questions have multiple parts, so make sure you're answering all of them and you're understanding what it is that you're answering. Brainstorm ideas first, jot down ideas, set a timer on your phone and just stream of consciousness, write for 2.5 minutes, start to think about what the theme is, what's the message, what's your story. You want to speak from the heart. Who are you? What do you want the college to know? What is it that they should know about you that you can't share or express anywhere else in your application? Those are the things that would be relevant. Sort of like an interview on paper. The colleges can't interview you, but they would love to. So think about your essay as like an interview. And have someone read it. A peer, adult. I wouldn't have 4, 5, 6 different people reading it because too many different people's input and perspective on an essay could confuse you more than necessarily help you. But input is important. Okay, Mr. Fogel.
Good evening. So we've been speaking a lot about the application, and part of that college application may consist of a test score. And the test score we're referencing is known as a college reportable admissions exam score. And those are 2 tests, either the ACT or the SAT. You may have read in the news over the last couple of years of a movement from many universities and colleges across the country into a realm called test optional, which changed from decades of a test requirement policy to a optional policy. Many schools, including ours in our state of Michigan, have moved to this new method of a optional reporting. Not all colleges will require the test any longer, either ACT or SAT, to be fully considered an applicant for their admissions pool. It's really up to the student's responsibility to monitor the application requirements. There has been much change over the last 2 admissions cycles from what college may have always historically required the exam, now being test optional. We have linked to our slideshow a link to a website that maintains a list of colleges and universities across the country that have now been or have been before test optional. This list is in the thousands range. So we do ask the student to not only check the website that we've provided here, but always, 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 and we've highlighted it here in yellow at the bottom, to maintain a second check policy with the specific institution's website to verify the test requirement or optional status of this or that university. And again, what was true last year may not be true next year. So please, encouraging all students to maintain a double check system with the Fair Test website link that we've provided and the institution's own website admissions page. So back to the Naviance software program, which is our college counseling platform that we use at Bloomfield Hills High School. Every student in the class of 2023 have spent more than once visiting this website, diving into the resources that they have and that they have to offer to help develop a plan and to keep it organized, housed in one place, simply their Naviance student account. Families also have access to that same website to see exactly what has been done and what has been organized on that site, tailored individually to the student's plan. So the very next thing we're asking juniors, soon to be seniors, to do is to, once you have determined which colleges you are applying to over the course of this summer, really, to narrow that list down from the thinking about list that we worked on in the beginning of this school year to now the actual applying list. So I will show you in the next slides how to move the colleges from the thinking about list to the application list, to the applying list. And this is an important step for the counseling office to be able to monitor, maintain, and deliver the materials to the right colleges or universities that you've narrowed your list down. We're not able to just go based off what your scratch piece of paper or maybe an email that has went between who knows who. We need it housed in one central location, the Naviance software. So this is the screen where we had students in the beginning of this year, juniors. We visited your classrooms to walk you through the steps to add colleges to this thinking about list. Now, the thinking about really, as we move into August, is winding down. It's now time for action, to actually begin the applications. So from the thinking about list, you can see the red arrows pointing to 3 colleges here. This student in this example has decided, I'm no longer thinking, I'm ready to actually apply to these colleges and tell my counselor through the Naviance page, these are the specific colleges I'm applying to. And in the center of the top, it says, move applications to application list. So clicking on the left, which individual colleges, and then at the top, moving these colleges to the actual application list. The next screen that we'll show to the students is this. Each college individually, one by one, will pop up asking the student a very important question. And that question is really 2 questions. Which application deadline will the student be applying to? And that's the first circle in the arrow. And many schools have different application deadlines that the student gets to choose between early application and regular application. We'll explain that later in a bit as well. But the second circle is critical to our assistance of making a smooth transition of the application materials. And that question is, how is the student applying to that particular university or college? As Mrs. Klein indicated, many schools offer multiple applications to apply to the same college. The common application or their own institutional application. And this is where you will indicate either common app or school-specific application. And on the back end, it's important that we know how the student is applying so that our materials, which is the high school transcript, the letters of recommendation, the senior year course schedule, those materials can end up at the right college through the right vehicle, either the common application or the university or college's own application. At this point, once all the colleges are brought over by answering those 2 questions, you now will have populated an actual application list, colleges I'm applying to. The colleges that you moved over intentionally are there listed to show you, to show your counselor, to show your parents, this is my actual list. And looking across this, you can see there are some key points to be noticed, and you'll see on your computer screen when you're working with your computer, laptop, or desktop better. You'll see the deadline date of that application. You'll see the status of the transcript. Schools are often going to put you in an incomplete status until the high school transcript is submitted. We will submit that application once you request that or the transcript, once you've made that request in the fall. Next, it will show the submission type, again, answering that question, if it's a common application or a direct-to-institution application. And later in the senior year, we'll be able to find out the status of that application from whether being admitted, accepted, deferred, waitlisted, or declined. At this point, I'm passing this now to Mrs. Hollier-Mattis.
So just to continue with, going off of what Mr. Fogel's talking about with the Naviance, it's really important to know how you're applying to that college, right? So there's different ways to apply, and some schools, they're firm on regular decision is what they have, or a rolling admission, early action, early decision, and restrictive early action. But you have to figure out which way are you going to apply, what's important to you. But the most important piece piece of that is making sure you know what the deadlines are. This year, I can tell you, I saw students miss deadlines. They wanted to apply early action, it came and went, and they ended up in the regular decision pool. So it's critical. It's up to you to drive that deadline, not the school, not the counselor, not the teacher. The student drives that deadline, and if you don't get your job done, you're going to miss something very important to you. This has live links in it, so you can actually look at these definitions here of what each one of these means. So you can go back into this and look, what does regular decision mean? What's rolling? Rolling is just a common, colleges are admitting you as they're getting applications. So you could put your application in September, and you might know in September that you were admitted to that school. So rolling is really cool because you know right away. But you have to make sure that you're paying attention to the deadlines. That's the most important part here. The other really important piece that we saw students, we saw a student miss this year. You have to, again, the May 1 deadline, really important. That's when you have to have your money in. Colleges want the money, right? They want to know you're coming. They're not messing around. If you don't get your money in, guess what? They don't care. They got more money right out the door, they don't care, right? We had a student lose his admission this year because he missed the May 1 deadline. And he thought, May 2nd, I'll get it in. Guess who's not going? Not going. That's how important deadlines are. And I have to say, unfortunately, because of COVID, we messed you guys up. We allowed you guys to extend things. It's got to stop. You guys have to get back on track. It's so important to pay attention to deadlines. We don't want to see any of you miss out on the dreams that you have for yourself. It's disappointing to us. We work really hard for you guys, and we want to make sure that you get what you want. But we can't control those things. We can't call the college and say, it's a good kid, let him in. It doesn't work that way, right? You have to respect their rules, because there's another person with a checkbook right behind you. So please do yourself a favor. Regroup this year. Get back on track with following deadlines here and in school. Really, really important. I'll get off that soapbox. Fall application process. We're going to go over a lot of information in the fall, so I am not going to go into detail because you're going to forget it anyway. We will go into detail in September when we have our mandatory meeting. We're going to review what you need to do, but it's real important in June. I think Mrs. Brooks said you're going to get a letter home. It's going to have a transcript. Look over the transcript. I had a student this year, didn't look over the transcript. Guess when he figured it out? Senior honors night. His GPA was wrong. Okay, how many months went by? 2 sets of transcripts. You have to pay attention. Detail is important in this process, right? We don't want to send anything out incorrectly. And if we've made a mistake, we want to fix it for you guys. Let us know. We're going to go over the process to request the transcript with us and then how to invite your teacher in. So don't worry about it. It's not something you're going to do in the summer. So again, just the fall application process. You're going to learn to request the transcript through Naviance. We're going to walk you through that. We're also going to help you understand how to match your common application, if you're using one, to your Naviance account. So that's a critical step that has to happen. We'll go over that as well. The parent and student questionnaire, I think Ms. Klein talked about, really, really important. If you can get that done before we walk out of the building, it's so helpful for those of us who like to write the letters in the summer. Please get us that information, and parents, we love your input. Please take the time to fill it out. It's critical. You know your kid's the best. We get the best information from you, and it helps add to our letters. Essays, if students, are writing their essays over the summer and you want to share it with your counselor, it's helpful information. We learn more about you through the things that you do, your resume, your questionnaire, your essays. That's how we learn about you. That's how we write your letters. So don't be shy. It's your opportunity to brag and share whatever you can share with us so that we can do the best job we can do for you. Over the summer, we would suggest if you are going to send a ACT or SAT score that you do that at least in September, because you want to get that out if you're going to hit some of those deadlines. It can take 4 to 6 weeks for test scores to go. So you want to make sure that that is something that you can take care of. After you submit, we want you to relax, take a breather. This is a very stressful process, and I think it's already been said. Spend the time this summer. Don't come back to school and have nothing. That's what these seniors did this year. Oh, boy, did they pay. They really, really had a hard time. They're juggling school, and they're trying to get all of this done. Use your summer. You'll still have time for fun, but this is an important part of your life. So take the time to do it. Don't rush through it. I had kids trying to get the Common App done in one day. That is a mistake. So don't catch senioritis. Come back to school healthy. You know, we've always said to you, junior year gets you in, senior year keeps you in. That is true. We don't want to see our kids losing their chances in getting into the schools they want because you didn't come back healthy. So, you know, keep working hard. If you do have issues as we're working through the process of college, we ask you to call the college. They're your best resource. I don't work for the college. When kids ask me, Miss Mattis, where's this? I have no idea. I don't work for Central. Call Central. We are certainly happy to help you with that, but this is your application. You have to learn to work this through, and we're happy to help you with that. Be patient. It takes time, so sometimes it takes time. Even though everything's sent electronically, it doesn't happen like that, right? So when I was talking about deadlines a little bit ago, if you have a November 1 deadline, the biggest mistake you can do for yourself is hit send on October 31st. It may not make it. Just because you hit send does not mean cyberspace is going to get it there, right? So you want to make sure you do things early and then wait, and things will catch up. But if they don't, that's when we make a call. That's really important. So be patient. Then your acceptance start coming in. That's really exciting. All of a sudden, you're starting to hear from the schools. And if you get into the school you want, send your money. Get your money out there. Don't wait. There's nothing wrong with that. And let the other schools know you're not coming. I've made my decision. Let the other schools know so that those spots open up for other students who may want to go there. And then you're going to enter those decisions into Naviance, which we will harp on you until you pick up your cap and gown, if you can believe it. So hopefully you'll take care of that quickly. And here's something, you know, when you're thinking about acceptances, when they start rolling in, here's something to think about. And this article was written in the Chicago Tribune, and it was back when we had that whole college application scandal. Y'all remember what was it, Becky? Aunt Becky. So this is just something to keep in mind as you're going through the process. Colleges don't define you. Colleges shape you. Colleges take the high school you and mold it into a grown-up you. But the key component there is you. Your ideas, your work, your voice. You bring all those things to college, and college helps you figure out what to do with them. The buildings don't have to be covered in ivy. The alums don't have to include former presidents. The name doesn't have to impress family members or your high school classmates. I say this all not to downplay the achievements of students who are headed to Ivy Leagues. That's a phenomenal accomplishment, worthy of much celebration. But it's not the only way. It's not the only path to success. It's certainly not the only path to happiness. You can find happiness and success, not to mention brilliance and inspiration and lifelong friendships and mind-blowing authors and really good art and really bad coffee on thousands of college campuses. The key ingredient is you. What you bring, who you are when you get there. Who you are when you leave. You matter most in this equation. So remember, it's not where you go, it's what you do when you're there. And I'm going to have Mr. Fitz come up and finish us off.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Mattis. Good evening, everybody. I'm Brian Fitzgerald. All right, yeah, so I'll bring us to a close here with some important things to do. Get your calendars out and begin looking at your summer and begin looking at the fall. For sure, we know that we're doing the boot camp on August 2nd. If you're here, I really suggest you sign up for it and you attend. It makes that Common App application go easier. You'll have some counselors here. You'll have an English teacher here to help with the essays. You got a community of classmates that are all working together, some asking the same questions. So check that out. And again, there's links to signing up for it on the slideshow. We have a college night. You may have attended that this past fall, but we will have another one in the beginning of school. And that's the evening where a lot of the college admissions people come. We set up tables in the gym, a couple of big rooms with some of our larger universities where we tend to get a lot more applications or interested applications too. So that's in the evening. We don't have that date yet, but we will send it out as soon as it's there. There is a financial aid night on September 28th. That will be in the evening, usually around 6 p.m. It'll take place in here, and that's where we have a representative from Oakland University that will come in and really speak to the process for filling out the FAFSA form or how to apply for different financial aid. College rep visits. Next year, we will have college reps or college admissions officers, college representatives come to our school in our CRC. We'll end up with a ton of different schools. Maybe we'll have 4 schools in a day. Sometimes it's just 1. But you can look to see if there's any of the schools that you're interested or want to know more about, or just want to sort of make sure that that school gets a chance to meet you. These are usually very small, intimate meetings. You can sign up to meet with those college reps, and I'll talk about how you do that in a second. Go on a tour. If you haven't been there yet, do some visiting this summer, whether it's an in-person campus tour or a virtual tour. It helps the colleges by showing that you're demonstrating an interest in them, and for many colleges, that's always a good thing for them to already sort of have your name in their system before your actual application comes through. Apply for scholarships. We'll talk about that again, but you can begin looking at different scholarships that are out there, and if you can begin applying for them this summer, why not get a head start on it? And we've already mentioned this a bunch of times to you, but stay on top of that community and services action requirement for you guys. You need 3 of them by the end of your senior year, and really it's by the end of January we want to have you entered. All right, signing up for school day and college reps. You've heard Naviance. We keep talking about Naviance because we really do a lot with Naviance, and you will be using Naviance a ton next year. So go into Naviance, click on colleges, and then when you click on colleges, there'll be a tab underneath it, and it will show you a list of colleges that will be coming to our high school next year, the days and the times that they're here. If you want to attend, you just slide the mouse over and click register. Now your name is automatically listed for that day, and then we will get a pass to you. If it's at 11 o'clock in the morning, or if it's at 10:15, you'll end up with a pass that day that will allow you to sort of show your teacher, and then you can come down and, like I said, have that kind of, sometimes it's one-on-one, you and the college rep for that specific college. Email and Naviance. You guys got to check your email. I was talking with some students last week, and they're like, yeah, we really don't look at our email a whole lot. Why don't you just use Instagram or use this instead? We don't. We're going to use your email. We're going to send you a lot of information through your Bloomfield email, and we also will be communicating with you throughout the summer with college experiences and college opportunities. And then obviously, you're going to be living in Naviance a lot next year. Continually check Naviance. Once you've done things, you can continually look to see that things are being processed in a timely fashion. Yes, you may have submitted something and you may have said, okay, I'm done, I'm applying on October 31st. Well, you can check to see when it's been delivered, when it's been received by the universities. So keep up with your email and keep up with Naviance. Scholarships. Scholarships are out there, lots of them. There's some scholarships that kind of come automatically. They're merit-based. It means once you've chosen your institution, or if it's in-state and you meet their criteria, you're going to automatically be informed like, hey, you qualify for this scholarship. Then there's the scholarships that you've got to go out and look for, and there's a lot of them, thousands and thousands and thousands of scholarships. It's a job. It's a small job, but they're there. You can know that if you're attending a certain university, Michigan State, go to Michigan State University, click on scholarships. It will show you specific scholarships that Michigan State University will give their incoming Michigan State University students. Central Michigan, Grand Valley, they have specific scholarships for incoming students. I would also suggest that there are scholarships out there for you if you're, if you work for a company. Sometimes there's scholarships that are specific to that company that maybe you work for your child, an incoming your kid. If you're working for a big insurance firm, maybe, they may have a scholarship. I saw some scholarships for places of employment. Kids that work at a nursing care center, they give scholarships to their students that apply, that they're going off to college at their place of employment. So they're out there. We have links for them. You can find the scholarships on Naviance. We've got a link for the scholarship opportunities through Naviance. There's another resource called FastWeb that will list thousands of different scholarships for you to research and look into. We'll post scholarships on our Canvas page when they come across our desk, and we think that they're applicable to you guys. But really, the scholarship piece is something that you gotta work for. Here's a bunch of links that will help you with other resources for the college application season, from Common App to essay writing, deadlines, you name it. Okay, so make sure you access this for all these. All these are linked to the websites that you can find the information on. And that is my piece. I'm going to pass it over one more time to Ms. Hollier-Mattis.
Just to end, I'd like to say, keep in mind, getting into college isn't the end of your journey, it's just the beginning. You are more than a letter, a rating, or a standardized test score. Hard work, determination, discipline, and grit are so much more important to your future than what college you get into. Please, please, please remember that as you go through this process. You are so much more than these people that don't really get to know you, right? So your futures are bright no matter where you end up and what you do. You're going to find success if you work hard at it. We really appreciate you guys coming out tonight. Thank you so much. Don't forget to get in contact with your counselor if you have questions. Sign up in our books, email us. We're happy to help any way that we can. Thank you.